included what we might opt to call disaster pieces, films with wild, commercially fatal problems but a peculiar integrity. There are some uniquely messy enterprises we can behold with the benefit of hindsight and not really imagine or even want fixed. There's an aura to such behemoths I've always found alluring. They might have defeated their makers, but somehow they live on, not least as test cases for how not to spend a studio's millions. The chosen films are a jumbled, motley crew, but that's kind of the idea. Without knowing it, they all say something about the circumstances that saw them produced. And while plenty of them should be fed to the wolves head first, others can be held up as magnificent. Quality is meant to be all over the map. Instead, two main criteria govern what's in. The production on each film has to have been epic or crackers, a comedy of errors, or in some way freshly entertaining to recount. A few old warhorses are discussed only in passing, simply because they've been flogged to death. On top of that, their commercial fortunes need to have been genuinely atrocious. Nothing here broke even or nearly did. Nothing that was savagely panned by critics but crawled home with a modest profit, John Borman's Berserk Exorcist II, 1977, for instance, counts as enough of a bomb. Waterworld, 1995, needs a mention. It's an instructive case of an at-the-time infamous belly flop that actually wasn't one, despite being a summer blockbuster released amid damning media coverage of hubris and overspend. It's also not terrible, and that's what saved it, differentiating it from Kevin Costner's subsequent post-apocalyptic clunker, The Postman, 1997. Waterworld cost Universal around $175 million, an unprecedented sum at the time, but recouped $264.2 million at the global box office. With the added expense of prints and marketing, this still left it marginally in the red. A few years later, thanks to ancillary revenues from home entertainment, it would have crossed the line. It's hard to say exactly when mainstream reporting began weighing in so avidly, and more often correctly, to predict flops. Industry Bibles such as Variety have been totting up grosses and sussing out budgets since day one. Somewhere along the line, this tipped over into weekly sport across America's breakfast tables. News pages started trumpeting the victory laps of Star Wars, 1977, at the same time as flaunting, with often gleeful schadenfreude, the ballooning costs and seemingly ruinous delays of Apocalypse Now, 1979, or Apocalypse Later, as it was snarkily dubbed while production in the Philippines ran on and on. Francis Ford Coppola, like Cameron after him on the similarly bad press-plagued Titanic, was vindicated by his film's wild success. But this last laugh didn't last long, as he would find out on his very next film, the incredibly costly One from the Heart, 1981, a case of the budget being reviewed and the film itself disappearing in a trice. Then came The Cotton Club, 1984, a chaotic mess of a production in which he and producer Robert Evans were at constant loggerheads. This double whammy torpedoed Coppola's stature for years as a big-budget filmmaker, illustrating what reputational damage multiple flops can wreak. Some bad press is insurmountable. During the Montana shoot on Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate, 1980, an undercover journalist called Les Gapay went so far as to sneak on set as an extra to confirm rumors of the absolute madness unfolding. When the film came out, scraping together the grosses of any studio executive's worst nightmares, Cimino's film became a byword for Hollywood's most wasteful tendencies, and a convenient rebuke to the overblown importance of the auteur, a film to which studios could point forevermore to justify playing it safe. From then on, any film with a hefty price tag suddenly had a target on its back. Failures couldn't avoid being publicized, even smirkily given trophies. The Golden Raspberry Awards were inaugurated in 1981, that rather juvenile institution purporting as a kind of anti-Oscars to celebrate the worst of everything Hollywood has to offer. Duly nominated for Worst Picture in 1988, Elaine May's uncertain comedy Ishtar, pairing Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman as talentless lounge singers, had been bedeviled by media attention, crowing that it was a wildly overpriced vanity project. Ditto Hudson Hawk, 1991, the lead-footed Bruce Willis caper that won big, but only at the Razzies. Costner's Dances with Wolves, 1990, had already been dubbed Kevin's